So in this video we'll be covering 6 up and coming Oculus Quest titles that are coming in 2021 and beyond. Well, actually 7 titles because I've added an honourable mention right at the end of the video. Now a few things to quickly mention before we go on. Firstly, even though all of these games are coming to the Oculus Quest, you're going to see a mixture of Quest and PC VR footage just because we don't have Quest footage for some of these games right at the moment. Also, if you want to check out some of these trailers in more depth, head on over to vrdynamite.com where I've created an article featuring 5 of these games that includes their full trailers. So if you want to check that out, that'll be linked in the description below. Finally, these are just 7 up and coming games that I haven't featured before. So if you're wondering why I haven't featured a particular game on this list, chances are I've covered it in a previous video. You can find those videos linked in the description below. Arcsmith is a sci-fi title coming to the Quest July 29th for the price of $24.99 US. The story goes that a master arcsmith called Corith Din, and by the way, an arcsmith is someone who constructs complex machinery. Well, Corith Din has taken you on as an apprentice during a time when war threatens the particular quiet corner of the galaxy that you inhabit. So as an arcsmith in training, you're given a range of diagnostic tools and machine parts to build complex interstellar machines such as drones and antimatter generators. So as you build these things, as you go about your work, you are treated to intergalactic tunes playing on the radio in the background. And you also hear about Corith Din's backstory. He starts talking about his life and you get to help him come to peace with his past. Samurais, check. Houses, check. Slaughter, double check. Samurai Slaughterhouse is a single player game that promises an open world where you explore towns and interact with NPCs, and all the while collecting items and power-ups as you go. And of course there is also a lot of slaughter to be had too. So combat revolves around slaying yokai, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. These are supernatural entities of Japanese folklore. And these yokai, when you defeat them, you then process them, you grind them up at slaughterhouses to create items that you can then craft with. Now how you approach combat is down to you. You can either go for the silent and stealthy ninja style approach, or you can go full Rambo. The game also has a unique black and white art style with a really healthy dose of red gore. Zenith: The Last City is a VR MMORPG that's set to release on PC as both a VR and non-VR experience, in addition to coming to PSVR and the Quest. Zenith is a sci-fi fantasy game with an East Asian aesthetic that's been designed to feel like an action RPG. Now, unlike some other MMORPGs that are all about pressing hotkeys, in Zenith you get to physically parry attacks. You get to use gestures to cast spells, and you can engage physically in things like gliding and climbing, so players get a real sense of physical embodiment in the world. Zenith will feature main story quests as well as group dungeons that you can complete together with a party of others. It also promises a plethora of things to do, from seeking out treasure and crafting to simply climbing trees using your motion controllers and picking fruit. Now there is no confirmed price or release date for Zenith just yet, but it is in the second alpha testing phase, which is planned for the 24th of July. So if you're old enough like me to remember the series Quantum Leap, which was a series about a time traveller that was on TV in the early 90s, then that might remind you of this next game. Wanderer is a Quantum Leap style story-driven time travel adventure that's set in the year 2061. Now in this time the world is in ruin, and it's up to you to step back in time to some of humanity's most momentous occasions to reshape the future. Now Wanderer is going to be a mix of action sequences and escape room style puzzles. For example, footage shows breaking codes with an Enigma machine and rotating dials to align an ancient stone disc, Indiana Jones style. The action sequences also appear quite varied, from playing drums on a stage to tens of thousands of people to taking out soldiers from the vantage point of a heavy machine gun nest. Wanderer is pledged for launch on all major headsets including the Quest the third quarter of this year. So if you're after some crazy, off-the-wall first-person shooter action, this game might be for you. Captain Toonhead vs the Punks from Outer Space is a first-person tower defense game that doesn't take itself too seriously. So it features a bunch of wacky enemies, from sharks on tank tracks with drill noses to armoured cyber chickens. Now, to take out these critters, you get an equally wacky assortment of weapons, such as pinata catapults and hot sauce shooters. Captain Toonhead is set for release in the summer of 2021 on the Quest. Now with that next game, think Pistol Whip, but with samurai swords, and you'll have a good idea of what this game is all about. So Against is a neo-noir themed rhythm fighting game that seems to feature quite a varied amount of gameplay. So what I mean by that is that in some parts of the stage you'll have enemies running towards you, whilst in other parts you'll be coming towards them. And then in some areas you'll be slashing enemies with your samurai sword in the specific direction that's indicated on the screen, kind of like Until You Fall, whilst in other parts you'll be dispatching them with a gun or using good old-fashioned fisticuffs. It'll also include some pretty epic boss battles. Against is set for release 3rd quarter of 2021. Okay, I did say we're going to look at 6 games in the video title, but we actually have time for one more, so we're going to look at one more honorary mention. The Secret of Retropolis is a sci-fi noir adventure set to arrive on Steam VR and Oculus Quest platforms July 21st. Retropolis is set in a future where humans don't exist, and it's up to robots to preserve civilization. So in this game you play robot detective Philip Logg, who is hired by a famous movie star to retrieve a stolen gem. The game is a seated experience that will feature an inventory system, conversation trees, an original electro-noir jazz soundtrack, and a stop-motion style that was drawn entirely using Oculus Quill. They've recently announced that they were looking for beta testers. I've popped this up as an article on vrdynamite.com, so if you're interested in beta testing or learning more about this game, then you can check out that article linked in the description below. So that's 7 up-and-coming Oculus Quest games. Which one are you most excited for? Let me know in the comment section below. I think my favourite by far is Wanderer. I love the idea of being able to travel back in time and doing all these different action sequences. The gameplay looks really varied and a whole lot of fun. So that's it for this video. Thank you as always for watching. If you have liked it, remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be kept up to date with all the latest content coming from this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.